I have about 15 minutes before I have to go because I have therapy. But I am so inspired right now because I just finished having a conversation on Instagram with one of you guys in the community asking questions about Substack, about how to find success on Substack. You guys are loving. I mean, literally over 300 of you have that's probably the most listeners that I've ever had on any podcast I've ever created on that one episode of how I'm growing my Substack and my 3-month plan. If you haven't listened to that, go ahead and check the description. I'll put the link down there so you can listen to that first. Not first, but so you can listen to that after this. But so many of you guys have come to me in the DMs on Instagram asking me questions, and I would love to answer them. So I figure instead of just answering them one by one, which I don't mind doing that in the DMs as well, I'll go ahead and create a quick podcast to help you with that. So if you don't already know this, I actually am building my empire now off of Substack and Threads. Every one of my clients, my entire budget, okay, is now coming from Threads and Substack, not Instagram. And the reason why this is monumental is because for the last 5 years, all of my income, not all, maybe not all, most of my income was coming from Instagram stories in particular. So to now see this switch happen over to a different platform that I've only been on since January 25th and it is February 20th, so not even a full month. And now I am officially making money off of my paid subscribers as well as my clients that I find through Threads. I had to share because I know that there's so many of you out there who are also just as burnt out on Instagram, on all these other social media platforms, and you're trying to figure out, well, how do I monetize my Threads? How do I monetize my Substack? And for many of you guys, it's also easier. And so I get it. I totally understand wanting to then go and monetize your Substack and monetize your Threads. So let's answer some of these questions. The first question that I got, which I think is the most important, is how are you doing this? How are you getting the people? The first thing that I love about Substack that makes it unique is it has social features alongside its blogging capabilities. So, and I use the social features. You guys, it's not enough to just post and then zip out. You have to post your post, but then you can use the shareable assets that Substack creates for you. Okay. It's never been easier. You can literally create videos, and let me not even say that you don't have to create it. It creates it for you. Substack will create little snippets of videos, which I'm going to have this be a snippet probably, snippets of videos of your podcast, of your posts. And then you can take those things and repost them into the notes feature on Substack, into Instagram stories, onto Threads, onto your email list, whatever it is that you want to share out there to get people to pay attention to what you've created. Substack already creates that for you. It even creates, let's say you're not doing video and you're just doing text. It creates little text right in the dimensions that you need for Instagram, for Facebook, for Threads, whatever those dimensions are, whether you need it in long form or you needed it just in a square, it will recreate those quotes. So you have to just download it and then post it. That's it. So create the content, but then take the shareable assets and go and put it out on your Substack notes, on your Instagram stories, on your Instagram reels, on your Threads, whatever it is. That's what also makes Substack so much better, I feel, than just having a blog. When you have a blog, you are just creating, you're kind of it's an echo chamber, right? You're talking to yourself, hoping that through SEO, people will find you, which we're going to talk about this next, is whether or not it's SEO friendly. Whether or not Substack is SEO friendly, making it easier for you to be found through Google. We'll talk about that next. But if you're on your blog, right, everything is just inside, it's internal. What Substack does is it, because it has its own social networking within the notes feature, which operates just like Threads, you're able to meet other people and connect with other people. And because it has its own platform, even with the podcast, a lot of the people that I'm getting now from Substack are not people that are transitioning from Instagram over to my Substack. It's people coming directly from within the Substack app. Substack itself is marketing for me, and they make it easy for me to continue the process because they make those shareable assets that I can then use to market myself on other platforms or right here on this same platform. I mean, even the fact that I'm able to make a podcast directly on Substack, all I have to do is press record. I don't have to go off and use iMovie or Riverside or any of those other websites, which is totally fine if you do use those. And I know people that are on Substack that are using those things as well. But directly, like, if there's no excuse when it comes to Substack. If you want to create a podcast, you just press record and you're good. As long as you have a camera and a mic, you're good. And even then, you don't even need that. I just have this because it makes the sound fantastic, and I love a good ASMR. So so point is that Substack removes a lot of the barriers to entry that people struggle with when it comes to creating the podcast, creating the blog, getting seen, all of that. So that's my first thing. Okay. Use the social features. Here's my direct process. My process is I write a post, I take those shareable assets, or I create the post like this, like the video, take the shareable assets, repost them on Instagram, repost it to the notes feature inside of Substack, inviting people to come and hang out with me. And then I go out. I go out to other people's Substacks. I'll use the search feature. I'll look up astrologers, social media consultants, spiritual entrepreneurs, Reiki practitioners. I'll use that search feature kind of like I would use a hashtag on Instagram, and I find other people and I start talking. I start having conversations. I do not take my stuff and then just go, hey, come and check out my page, because who cares about me? You know what I mean? Like, they don't know who I am, so they don't care. People don't care about you until they know that you care about them. So when I go to somebody else's page, let's say I find a Reiki practitioner and I like her, I'm not going to just talk to any Reiki practitioner because I need to vibe with you. So I'll look and see, like, who am I vibing with? Who's creating content that I really like? And then I go ahead and I start talking to them. I read their Substack, and then I never go anywhere. I do not go to any networking event. I do not go to any online space without letting people know that a bitch has been there. Okay. She is in the building. So if I'm reading your Substack, I am going to leave a comment. If I'm reading your note, I'm going to leave a comment. I'm not just going to like it. Sometimes I will if I really don't have anything to say, but I really did like what you said. Again, it's all authentic here. I'm not just going to leave comments if I have nothing to say. But I'm a Mercury in Sagittarius, so I always have something to say. The point is that I make my presence known when I go to these places, whether it's online or in person. I always make my presence known, and that's the key. So use the social features, post regularly, but then go out to other people and start talking to them. Comment on their stuff, read their stuff, restack their stuff, recommend other people's stuff. And then I'm telling you, people will then find you and they'll go, wow, this comment was really thoughtful. Let me go check out her page. Or, wow, I really love that she restacked my article. Let me check out her article. Let me restack her article. Or, wow, she recommended me and I love her stuff now and I want to recommend her too. So I'll recommend her. You see how that goes? I love it. Number two, the next question is, can this replace my blog? I'm trying to do more SEO. This is a specific question somebody asked. I'm trying to do more SEO strategy. So I'm cross posting on my website and Substack, but I don't know if that's what I should be doing. Here's my advice. Okay. I have 6 more minutes to get this through. My advice to you is it's okay to do both. Now, I found when I searched myself, I was able to actually find myself on Google. So you can be searchable on Google. What it's going to take is using keywords in your titles and your headlines. So for like example, for me, I would use things like how to use your birth chart to grow your business, or Pisces season transits, key dates, and manifestation tips, right? Those are key words that people would be utilizing to find content on Pisces season transits, or how to use your birth chart to grow your business. And if I'm using that as my title or using that as my headline, I'm more likely to show up in Google. Also, write SEO friendly URLs. So, for example, you want to make sure that it's clear, that it has the keywords inside of it, like Pisces season transits manifestation guide, right? Those help you to create, like, be found, right? Because it's so specific, and those keywords are like, versus if you're using SEO friendly, not SEO friendly URLs, and it just says like, you know um XYZ234, like, no one's searching for that. So make sure that when you're using the URLs, that you're able to change that URL to match the keywords that you believe that someone would be using to search for you. Then also use keywords within the post and make sure that it's organic. Don't be just writing like, you know, uh, don't just write something like, I don't know why I got like a brain fart there, but how to use your birth chart to grow your business multiple times inside of the post, right? No, you want to do things like Mercury retrograde in the birth chart, or Venus retrograde and relationships, or Mercury retrograde and ex-boyfriends, right? Or ex-girlfriends or ex-days. I don't know. The point is that you want to mention those phrases inside of the post, and you want to keep it natural. So once again, Google is able to search for it. And then inside of the meta descriptions, you also want to make sure that the first few lines of your post, since they act as the meta description that will show up on Google, you want to make sure that it's engaging and that it includes keywords. That's what's going to help you to be found on Google, right? So that could mean like saying like, do you wonder what it means to have Mercury retrograde in your birth chart? Learn how retrograde planets shape your personality, shape your relationships, shape your career, right? So making sure that inside of that first few lines, you are using descriptive keywords that you believe that your ideal client would use to search for you. Now, if you're going to post it on your blog, I recommend that too, just because, one, just in case anything happens to Substack, you still have your content. Your content is on your website. So that's number one. Number two, if you like to use Pinterest, then you can also do that too. I don't know if Substack, if you can, I believe you can. Yeah, you could probably use Pinterest as well with your Substack. Just make sure that you have an image inside of your Substack. But I like to use my website so that way I can get the analytics and see where everyone's coming from. So I will sometimes take that same post and repost it into my blog, but I don't do that for every single post. I just do it for the posts that I really am proud of and I want to keep, like maybe this one. And then the last one, I have 3 minutes. I'm just going through this, girl. I'm going through this. But, anyways, the last tip that I have, or the last question is, do you have a regular newsletter, or are you doing that in conjunction with Substack? Here's the thing. I don't recommend having an email list and a Substack list, because Substack already sends stuff to the email. You don't want your audience to be like, why is she sending me this twice? So instead, what I would encourage you to do is choose one or the other. I prefer Substack because of its social media features, because of the fact that Substack already markets within its own community. It helps me to grow versus an email list. I'm solely responsible for growing that email list. You know what I mean? And that takes a lot of work. So do I still recommend having one? Or if you have one, do I still recommend maybe inviting people on that email list to come on by and check out your Substack? 100%. Invite them over and have them come to check out your Substack, see what's up, and all of that. Maybe give them an incentive, like a free book or a free guide or something that they can get for going ahead and subscribing to your Substack. And then me personally, if I had an email list, I would stop using my email frequently and only keep that to like maybe major events that need to be shared or things like that. Or yes, if anything happens to Substack, then I would use it then. The beauty of Substack that makes it so much more powerful to me than Instagram is with Substack, it has the emails already built in. People have to give their email address. And so what that means for you is if anything happens at all, you can just download that email list and then take those same emails and use it on Flowdesk, use it on MailChimp or wherever it is that you use, Squarespace, whatever, right? And that allows you to still maintain your relationships versus on Instagram, when Mercury retrogrades and Instagram goes down for 24 hours, you don't have any connection to those people. So even if you have 100 people watching your stories, if you don't have 100 emails, honey, those girls are gone. So that's one of the reasons that I personally love Substack for that reason, because of the fact that I still have access to my people. So I did this in 15 minutes and I'm so proud of myself. I believe that those are most of the questions that I've received. I'm going to go ahead and upload this. If you have more questions, a couple things that I want to invite you to do. Number one, book a session with me. If you are thinking to yourself, like, I want this kind of support and answers, but I have more questions and I want it to be specific, like I want content ideas, I want a unique strategy that's based off of how I naturally communicate, based off of my natural strengths, then go ahead and book a astrogram call with me. I have the link down in the description. That is a call where we focus on creating a strategy based off of your astrological birth chart. And that helps us to figure out what are your strengths when it comes to marketing and communication, and what makes you unique and special. How do you express the value of your services? Plus, you'll walk away with content ideas for Substack, for Threads, for Instagram Reels, for Instagram Stories. You'll have specifics. So right now, where I'm answering kind of questions that anybody can kind of utilize, if you have specifics where you're like, well, what kind of content should I create to maybe create mystery or create curiosity or do attraction marketing or whatever it is, I can help you to actually do that when you book an astrogram call, because we'll be able to talk for an hour, giving you time to ask specific questions. And then everything is recorded so you can always come back to it at another time. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is, if you have even more questions, go ahead and leave your questions in the comments over on my Substack on this particular post. And then maybe I will create, not maybe, I'm sure I'll create another episode that is more at length, or I will create a post specific for you guys. So anyways, I'm going to go because I have therapy, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please share this out to anybody out there that you know that is an entrepreneur who is trying to leave the hustle and bustle of social media, particularly Instagram, particularly, Meta. If they're trying to leave that and they're trying to figure out what is another way that I can make an income online, this episode is gold. It's gold. Okay. And this can help that person to be able to make money, continue following their purpose, continuing to stay in alignment, and do something that feels good for their nervous system instead of constantly showing up on the rat race that is Meta. All right. Okay. That's all I have to say. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.